Salam and Ramadan Mubarak. Welcome back to our Dispatches weekly program where we discuss Somalia's latest news. My name is Abdul Qadir Goulet. This week we're discussing the unprecedented move by Somalia's Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Roble in expelling the AU envoy in Mogadishu, Ambassador Francesca Madeira. The move was rejected by both Somalia's President Mohamed Farmajo and the AU chairman. To discuss the issue, we're joined by Shopki Hayer, a political scientist and a researcher. I started our conversation by asking him about his reaction.
Many thanks, Abdul Qadir, for having me. Somali leaders have disagreed the decision of Prime Minister Roble to declare a special representative of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Ambassador Francisca Madeira, persona non grata, or in other words, the ambassador is no longer welcome in Somalia, following accusations for engaging in acts that are incompatible with the status as representative of the African Union Commission and ordered to leave Somalia within 48 hours. So the interesting part is that President Farmajo responded within an hour of the Prime Minister's notification letter, stating that he did not receive any complaints of interference with Somali's sovereignty and did not endorse such what he called as illegal actions against Ambassador Madeira. So I would like to outline three important issues here. The first one is there is a clear indication or a reflection on the long-standing internal disagreements and dispute between Farmajo and Prime Minister Roble, which escalated and going beyond the internal issues, extending well to foreign policy. So that's one thing. The other thing is the use of the doctrine of persona non grata, which does not really or actually apply to regional or international organizations. So as described in the 1961 Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, so the doctrine of persona non grata applies to diplomatic agents who are accredited by one state to another in the context of their bilateral relations. So the African Union, as we know, is not a state. Its personnel are deployed and work under the so-called, there was an agreement which is called the status of mission, agreement between the transitional federal government of Somalia and the African Union on the African Union mission in Somalia, which was signed on the 6th of March 2007. So the third point I would like to outline is which office has the power to expel diplomats. Traditionally, all official business with the receiving state is conducted with or through the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, which is the official channel through which states or governments communicate with foreign governments and international organizations. But again, it's up to the receiving state to decide how they want to implement international agreements and international law. So these issues make things more complicated, and also both Prime Minister Roble in a very vulnerable position.
So one can say the Prime Minister is on a shaky legal footing on that decision. But as we both know, this is not the first time Somali government or Somalia has issued in recent years or months even a BNG. Why is this a common occurrence, do you think?
The problem here is that the Somali government issued 3 times persona non grata for the past 5 years. So it all started with the expulsion of Nicholas Haysom, the UN Special Representative for Somalia and the head of the United Nations Assistant Mission in Somalia. So he himself was also accused of violating Somalia's sovereignty and interference of internal affairs following the crackdown of protests in Baidawa, southwest state and also questioning the legal basis of Mukhtar Robowi's arrest. So the second case was Simon Mulungo, who was also the deputy representative of the African Union. So he was also ordered to leave Somalia. He was also accused of engaging in activities that did not comply with AMISOM's mandate and the security strategy. So if you look at all these three cases, including the one that we're talking about now, Ambassador Franciscus Madeira, I think overall judgment, all these cases are more or less similar. And from my own point of view, these are valid and justified.
What do you think of the accusation that Prime Minister leveled at Francisco Madeira in this regard of interference, political interference, mind you? You've heard you heard the audio, I take,
yes,
that is circulating in Somali social media. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think there is a strong case against Ambassador Madeira here after a leaked audio recording circulated online, in which he talked about negatively certain issues and also made inflammatory remarks against Prime Minister Roble and the two former presidents. I think this is a serious breach of political interference, and the ambassador did not really observe his status as EU representative. So I think this is also valid and justified. But the way and the steps that Prime Minister Roble took is more or less questionable, because we were expecting a more coherence, and this kind of decisions also require consensus by all the organs of the state, so including the office of the Prime Minister, the office of the President, and also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. So these are the elements that we are missing here.
Do you think if outside of the dispute between, among Somali leaders, specifically the Prime Minister and the President, if that was not at play, do you think we would be at where we are today, or would Francisco Madeira be gone?
No, I don't think so, because there is, if there was no dispute or disagreement between Prime Minister Roble and President Farmajo, I think the situation would have been better, and also better for the face of the Somali government, because now we see that the internal disagreements and issues regarding the security of the elections, but also seats that Prime Minister Roble is holding, and also other issues that were ongoing since last year. I think the situation should have been better. They would also have included the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. But
given
this is the part that we're missing.
Right, thank you. Given the vital role ADMIS or the African Union soldiers play in Somalia's security, what does the latest dispute mean among the troops, be they the African members' troops or the Somali troops?
I think it will not affect the new mission. So there's a new mission now, which replaced AMISOM. So it's called the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, so ATMIS. This is also based on a unanimously adopted resolution 2628 in 2022, so this year, which UN Security Council endorsed the decision to reconfigure African Union mission in Somalia, so the AMISOM, into African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS. So this is also in line with the Somali transition, the revised version of the Somali transition plan, and also national security architecture, where Somalia gradually assumes greater security responsibility in the coming years. So I think this would not have any effects to the ongoing process and also the transition that Somalia would eventually, in the coming years, assume primary responsibility of its own security.
Right, and as you're well aware, the ATMIS forces announced yesterday that they will be doing security sweeps, and they're imposing curfew on certain Mogadishu institutions, including the Halane, where the Prime Minister and the FEET electoral commissions announced they will be swearing in the new 11th parliament members. Do you think that's a reaction to what's happening, or is this just a coincidence?
No, I think this is coincidence because we have seen that there were some attacks in Halane a few weeks back. And this security checks and reforms has been an ongoing process. And I think they also want to make sure that that what happened few weeks ago would not or cannot happen again, because we also expect that I think in a couple of days on 14th of April that the new parliamentarians will be sworn.
Okay, the AU chairman, in agreement with President Farmajo, rejects the Prime Minister's move to expel Francisco Madeira out of the country and not allow him back, actually. Where does Somalia go from here?
The statement by AU chairman seems to be face-saving and preserving the reputation of Ambassador Francisco Madeira. But I think that Madeira has lost the confidence of the office of the Prime Minister. So as we know, the Prime Minister is the head of the executive branch. He is also responsible in concluding the elections. So it's almost impossible for Madeira to continue his work in Somalia. And I think he will resign sooner or later. I think it's unfortunate that the two highest ranking offices could not agree on this issue. There has been political tensions between the two in matters relating to security, delays in concluding parliamentary elections that have been running since last year. And this decision now made by the Prime Minister and the President could have been a collective decision requiring consensus by all the organs of the Somali state. As we know, the President is the head of the state and the Prime Minister is the head of the executive branch, which is vested in the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister also assigns cabinet portfolios, this including the Minister of Foreign Affairs, which is also tasked to formulate, promote, and execute Somali's foreign policy. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs assumes overall a responsibility for all aspects of Somalia's international relations in consultation with the Prime Minister and the President.
Appreciate it, Shawki Hayer. We'll stop there, and I can't thank you enough for joining us this evening on your time, so close to Iftar. I greatly appreciate you explaining this massive issue to our viewers, and I look forward in having you back in the near future to discuss other issues among Somali's political issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you.